Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv. Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
this meeting of the Exeter Planning Board of November 2nd, 2023 at 7 p.m. in the Nowak Room of the Exeter Town Office Building to order and begin with introducing the members of the board this evening. I'm Langdon Plummer. I'm chair of the board, and to my left is
John Gruder.
Gwen English.
Nancy Belanger, Select Board Representative.
and my right.
Pete Cameron.
Jen Martell.
Thank you very much. We're going to be beginning first with some minutes that are from right here, October 12th and October 26th. So I'll open the floor to the minutes of October 12th. Are there any comments, concerns?
Mr. Chair, number 94, line 94, page 3 of 6. It says Robert Boyd Moore with Winter Holbert. I don't know if that's his full legal name or if that's supposed to say Henry. For some reason it's highlighted.
Yes, I wondered that also. But
Yes.
Highlighted.
Well,
Well, I know it's highlighted because I printed it.
Looks like it's a larger typeface, maybe.
no, here.
What are you talking about?
Oh,
When you pulled it off the,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't know.
So
I don't know.
So at our last meeting, I asked what Mr. Boyd's first name was, and you said it was Henry. So I'm thinking we should change Robert to Henry. And I don't know why Moore is there.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's supposed to say Henry Boyd with Winter Holden.
I think you're right. Because it was Henry that was here.
Yes.
And delete Moore, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Replace Robert with Henry, delete Moore, and that should take care of it, I believe.
Okay.
But also, the sentence kind of ends funny. I think it should say that they were also in attendance. You know, it said that,
Oh, so it should say,
Jack is
instead of
the-
period, we're in attendance.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're also in attendance, because they said Jack was there,
Okay.
and Tia
Yeah.
Moran presented the application on behalf of the owner.
All right.
125,
125.
I motioned, and on 127, I seconded my own motion.
Oh,
So somehow,
Chairman. Ooh, huh?
You have two hands.
I know, I have a split personality, I know, but, so I don't know who wants to do
Anyone
that.
remember who?
I
did.
think you and I were
Yeah,
trading
yeah,
back and
yeah,
forth at that
probably.
point.
I will take responsibility. for that
Okay.
second. How's that?
You bailed me out again.
And I was curious on line 10, do we need to call Pete out because he was 2 minutes late? Is that necessary? Do you see the line 10? Pete Cameron,
What they
clerk.
Oh,
I've never seen that before.
No.
Arrived at 7:02?
They do it with the select board too, there's been.
Do that? I just
people-
haven't seen it in our minutes. Have we used that before?
Oh,
I remember seeing it,
Yeah.
that hasn't been practiced, so
but
I
shame on
suggest
you,
we,
Pete Cameron.
Yeah, I
I would suggest we delete that.
Yeah, I think so. I don't.
Yep.
Whatever.
Well,
I
then
mean, we do
down,
need to keep track of him, but,
then down in line 27, I arrived at 7:02.
okay.
Oh, okay, you did twice. You apologized. Wow.
And apologize.
That's because he made a big deal. We'll delete line 27 then.
Excused absence,
Very
outside
good.
parking.
Whatever.
Don't let it
I
happen
think
again.
I had more choice words than that on the way here.
Okay, any other comments?
Yeah, I got two.
Gwen?
Line 101, Ms. Martell asked, and I would put maybe about the material for the turnaround. Just
Okay.
put in about. Does that work for you, Jen? Sure. Okay. And then on the last, on page 5, 1, 2, 3rd paragraph down.
Line up.
Where is that? Oh, no, it's line 189, sorry.
189, okay.
Scott Bogle, B-O-G-L-E. And I don't know if you want to put in parenthesis, Senior Transportation Planner at RPC, just to identify who he is,
Okay,
Yeah.
but it's B-O-G-L-E.
I missed that.
VOGLE, okay.
Yep.
And you want to add transportation planner?
If everyone agrees to that, that would be,
That's fine.
that's all I had. Another good job from Dan. Houcher.
Okay, I'm open to a motion.
May I before?
Yes.
When you asked before about what Henry's
Yeah.
first name was, I didn't understand the context. This is
I
not
didn't say
him.
it. Oh,
This is architect. Henry's not an architect.
That's true.
okay, I just saw Boyd.
And he wasn't with C3I.
Then,
So it says architect Robert Boyd Moore with Winter Holbert. I mean,
that is
Henry
correct.
Boyd's with Millennium Engineering.
I went on their website and they have no listing of who works there, so it wasn't
Okay.
helpful. So I'm going to withdraw my amendment on line 94. Thank you, Mr. Sharples. But I think we should leave what John suggested, because it ended abruptly.
We're also
That we're
in
all-
attendance?
Yes.
Okay.
So forget mine. Sorry, Ms. Moore.
Everybody's all right with that?
I did not know who you were.
Change after we change? Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay. Ready for a
It's
motion?
okay, so Oh, did I have a motion? No. Yeah.
Sure.
Can I move to accept the draft minutes for October 12th, 2023 as amended?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Voice vote is adequate. Those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. Thank you. Now we'll look at October 26th.
I have not read those yet.
Did we get those?
They came today.
I wasn't
Before
I wasn't
today?
at the meeting, so I can't.
I wasn't here either.
I also wasn't here.
Well, let's see.
Can we move?
Aaron
to-
was here, but he's not.
It's
Gwen?
on 3 pages, so,
Yeah, these were the ones where you and I did all the, we just.
yeah, you guys
moved
have.
it.
3 of the 4 that were in attendance, I think was enough for us to
Have you read them?
approve
Yeah.
these. Yep.
I trust you.
Yep.
Oh, that was a short meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the number.
You didn't miss much.
I didn't miss much.
Well, I can't do it. I mean, I'd move them, but I can't.
Yeah, I'm fine to move it,
Okay.
if everyone is okay with that. I move to accept the meeting minutes of October 26th, 2023.
And a second, please.
Second?
Gwen?
Yep.
Thank you.
Second.
Voice vote, the 3, well, everybody can vote and abstain if you want, but at any rate, those of us that are in favor of these, accepting these minutes, who are in attendance, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
So abstain.
Abstain, and John abstains. That's a 3 against 3. But they're accepted. All right. Now on with the action. The application of McFarland Realty Trust for site plan review and wetland conditional use permit for the proposed construction of a vehicle storage lot and electric charging station on the property located at 110 Holland Way. Subject property is located in the C2 Highway Commercial Zoning District, tax map parcel number 51-14-1 and 51-13. This is planning board case number 23-16, and I would ask Dave if this case is ready to be heard.
It's complete for review purposes. in my opinion.
Okay, I look for a motion to hear the case, please.
Almost so moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All right, those in favor, again, voice, please indicate by saying yes or aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Yeah.
You told me to say
Opposed?
yes.
Abstentions? The ayes have it. So would you like to start us off, please, Dave?
Yes, as you stated, the applicant is seeking approval of site plan, wetlands conditional use permit for construction of a vehicle storage lot and electric vehicles charging station at McFarland Ford property. The applicant submitted plans, supporting documents dated September 12th. A TRC meeting was conducted on October 5th, and the minutes from that meeting were enclosed. Town department's comments were so noted by the applicant at the meeting, so no formal letter was issued. The application was determined, the DPW determined that it was, Underwood Engineering was not necessary to review due to the size, and it's part of we've done a pretty large parking lot expansion out there, and you'll see it's kind of in between the dealership and the parking expansion, and there was gravel there that existed before in that area. The applicant did appear before the Conservation Commission at their September 12th, 2023 meeting to review the conditional use permit. I did include a memo from the Conservation and Sustainability Planner, Kristen Murphy, outlining the commission's recommendations, and as well as minutes from that meeting, that they took no objection to the application. The applicant then submitted revised plans dated October 25th, they satisfactorily addressed the TRC staff comments. And they provided a response, so they actually provided the town comment and then a response in their response letter in your packet. The applicant is seeking one waiver from the board site plan and review subdivision regulations to permit grading within 5 feet of the property line, and they have their request letter dated October 25th as well. I am prepared with conditions of approval should the board get to that stage this evening. That's all I have, thank you.
Okay. Floor is yours, sir.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chris from McFarland Ford. Ford Motor Company in 2022 introduced a program where dealers could elect to sell electric vehicles from 2024 and on. There are several requirements and infrastructure and training and software needed to sell these going forward. And part of them is having level 3 chargers available at our dealership. Not only level 3, but public-facing level 3 chargers. So these are going to be universal chargers made by Bosch that can charge, a Tesla, a Ford, Nissan, you name it, and made available not quite 24/7, but within varying hours of not just the hours the dealership operates. So we picked this area thinking that it was not quite as busy as something off of Portsmouth Ave, but also because of its proximity to Hannaford's, thinking that folks could park their cars there, walk over, do their shopping, come back, and have some kind of charge, depending on how long they were there. My daughters and I went there today to get tomato soup, and we were there for 20 minutes. That wouldn't got us too far, but these level 3 chargers would charge an F-150 Lightning from about 10% to 80 in 40 minutes, which is pretty substantial. It's there aren't many level 3 chargers around in this area at this point. Part of our goal and Ford's goal is to increase the charging network to make EVs, to make folks want to adopt EVs. It has been a slow process, and part of the barriers to moving to electric vehicles is charging accessibility. It's definitely the limiting factor when we talk about that with consumers. Just the ease of range anxiety, I think, is what they call it. But yeah, that's so. In addition to the 3 level 3s, we've put in 6 level 2s. Those are attached to the building, as well as 12 NEMA outlets in our service department. We have 23 service bays, and we're required to put a charger. A plug in every other bay. So Ford's seeing this as a major, kind of a major point forward, and kind of the way they're going to put a lot of their business, especially in the CUV, SUV segment, and F-150 pickups. So we'd like to be on the forefront of it. We've opted into this program because I think it is the future. Whether it might not be the next 12 months, 24 months, but sooner rather than later, the majority of what we sell will be EV. Thank you.
So you're adding 3.
We're adding 3 level 3. We have no level 3 now.
Okay, but what do you have now?
We have 6 level 2s.
And they're just not as fast.
They're not as right. So those will do 8 hours. So to get an F-150 fully charged, it'll charge in 8 hours. We have to put the level 3s in. So Ford's saying some dealerships are required to have one and then a second one by the end of 26. We're required to have 2 initially and the third one by the end of 26.
So that's by a contract with Ford?
Yes, that is, yep, that's in the program regulations. So
Okay.
they come out, they check them, they make sure they're working, they make sure they're well lit, they're easily accessible to the public. So they're not free, we can charge for them, but it's not quite a way to monetize. I don't think anyone's figured out how to monetize charging stations at this point, it's still in its infancy. But yeah, that's a big proponent, is having any Ford dealer who's moving to sell electric vehicles, they want this network of charging to be pretty robust, and which is why they're having us do it.
So whatever you're doing for infrastructure underground, you're going to maybe do enough that you might add 3 more or 4 more if everything goes well. Do you have room for that, or is that
I don't know if
worry
we've got
about that in
capacity
3
to
years?
add. That's a good question. I don't know if the conduit is large enough to add a 4th one at this juncture. That would be a good question. And so, I don't know. There are 3 240 kilowatt units. If each one has 2 plugs, if 2 are in it, they'll go 120 kilowatt and 120 kilowatt. If just one is plugged in, it'll go at 240 kilowatt. Not all vehicles accept charging at the same rate of speed, so whether or not 2018 Nissan Leaf could go as fast as something else, I don't know, but this was the fastest one we could buy at this point. Let's put it that way. So
do I need to make an appointment? Do I just drive up? Do I go inside and pay someone?
no, you just drive up. You can use your smartphone to pay on them with Apple Pay. You can, if you have a RFID chip on your credit card, you can tap it. They will be listed on various charging maps. If you've maybe you've got a Charge America or Charge Point. They'll be listed, so that way if someone has an app and they're on 101 or 95 and they're saying where's the closest available level 3 charger, they'll be able to find
Are these for your customers only, or can anyone use them?
No, anyone can use them. We have a lot of folks who have, well, they tell me they're visiting people at Exeter Hospital and they will charge at our store. That's the most frequent comment I hear about when we see people charging, like and they'll be either visiting, something.
So your current chargers are accessible to the public also?
4 are.
Okay.
Yep. As of 3 weeks ago, I would say. Yep.
And are people using them?
They are. Yeah. Yep. They are.
Finding them on the app and?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. They're using them. It's not. They went live. Yeah, I think it's been 3 weeks. They went live. Yep. So they're not. They're on the 101 side of the building. It's fairly congested over there, which is part of the reason.
Yeah.
There's less going on
Busy on
at
the
that
side,
spot. The level 2, so that does. It's a little intimidating to come over there sometimes. It's near the service entrance, so there's trucks coming in and out. If I could put one somewhere else, I probably would, another level 2 at some point. That was a little more safe.
No, you're going to have signs somewhere on the property indicating, well, when you're coming down Portsmouth Avenue, obviously you're going to have to make a turn off it. Will there be something there that indicates electric charging stations 100 yards down or 100 feet down or whatever?
I had not planned for signs at this point. I could on the property put, I believe, directional signage is allowed. if so, we could put directional signage on the property for that. I hadn't planned on putting something on Holland Way that said charging stations this way. At this point, that's not to say we can't,
Okay, and I think you said these could be 24/7?
They could be 24. Originally, Ford asked them to be 24/7, but then they pulled that back and said, make them accessible hours, but not just the hours you're open.
Okay, but then are you envisioning security issues then with?
I mean, we have folks park in our parking lot now,
Right.
all 24/7,
So then.
and we do have cameras
Right.
at that spot. There's some lights that are on motion sensors right around there.
Okay, so are you going to be adding additional lights, or what basically what?
I don't think we're adding, I think we're just moving.
Yeah, we're relocating a pole.
Could you step to the microphone and introduce
Oh, I'm
yourself,
sorry.
please?
Yeah, maybe we should let them, they haven't started talking about the plan yet. Should we let them talk about the plan before we start asking them questions about the
fine.
Trying to
plan?
get the concept down.
Yeah.
Chris knows a
It's usually
lot
the way
more
it
about
goes.
the EV charging stations themselves, so
Yeah.
I was letting him run with it. We are moving a pole. We had a photometric lighting analysis of the area. There are a couple lights that already exist. There's one here, and then there's a pole here that's got two heads. And all we need to do is shift the pole. We're going to reset this pole here into this new island. Small shift, but currently it's in where we want to put the drive lane. And we did a photometric analysis, and we feel like we have sufficient lighting for what we need to do there. So there won't be any dark spots or anything like that for the parking area.
Will that be on all night, or is it going to be lowered at 10 o'clock or something, or?
We're going to connect it to the current lighting program for the property, Chris.
Which does lower it. It's 10 or 11.
Yeah, at 10 or 11, it dims, but does not shut off. And we'll integrate the lighting system into the current program.
Same as the additional lot down.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
sounds good.
Okay. So to just touch base on the layout for the property. So a lot of this Chris has touched on, but just to reiterate where we've come from up to this point, like Mr. Sharple said, TRC, Conservation Commission, we've met with, received comments, integrated those into the design. We're looking to do a paved surface for both the charging stations, which are here. There'll be 3 of those charging towers proposed with 6 spaces, so two spaces per tower. And the primary use for the current area is storage for inventory. So we've lost some of that, but we still are going to keep some inventory storage space on the side here. We are maintaining a 22-foot wide drive lane around the charging station, so there'll be a full traffic motion access road around the charging station, so the public can come in, and this will feel very comfortable to the general public. We followed all standard road regulations and width protocols here, stop control, stop signs, the proper widths and lengths for spaces and drive lanes. So the storage will be tucked away here on the side, and we'll be here to the right here. But again, public can easily come in and access these and leave, and won't have any obstruction from the storage area. So the current area of this property is gravel. It's been gravel for several years. It's been a cleared storage area historically. Currently, there's about 7,800 square feet of gravel on this area. We've retracted that footprint from an impervious standpoint. And we're proposing about 6,200 square feet of pavement. So we have reduced the square footage of impervious. And then in addition to reducing the impervious area, we've added stormwater treatment where there currently isn't any. we're providing a treatment swale here along this McFarland Ford drive lane, which will provide stormwater treatment for the pavement before it discharges to the woodland area in the rear. So overall, we feel like this is it's a good project. It provides benefits to both the town to provide charging and also for McFarland Ford to provide an additional service to its customers. So the impact for the site will be rather small. I think we're only around 10,000 square feet of disturbance total. We'll need to bring three-phase power across Holland Way. Currently, there's one-phase power, so the setup is there to upgrade. We just need to bring three-phase. These pull a lot of power, so we're going to need that. The poles here, we're going to come across to here, and then put a transformer cabinet here in this grass area, and then we'll provide underground conduit to power the three stations. So from a utility standpoint, that's really the only work being done in addition to the added pavement. Circle back on Concom's and TRC's comments and questions. Concom wanted a wetland seed mix on the back slope of the parking lot, which we've hatched out here and requested that the contractor coordinate with Go Environmental for the spec for that. We wanted a more natural seed mix to abut the wetland complex in the rear. And they also wanted the wetland stamp on the existing conditions plan. That's not in your packet. I had a scheduling conflict with meeting up with my wetland scientist before the deadline. I did submit it digitally to Mr. Sharples to let him know that I was able to acquire that, and I can certainly have that included in a notice of decision submission following a vote, and have that included in the packet that Mr. Chair you would sign. And one of the other items that I wasn't able to include was the day of the submission was actually the day that McFarland Ford serviced their porous pavement on the larger parking area. That was a comment in TRC to just check in on where BMP and maintenance were on the property. The porous pavement's in good condition. They did clean it. They checked for debris. They checked the outlet pipe discharge points. I walked the property. The treatment swale in the front looked good. The porous pavement looked good. They do have maintenance twice a year that cleans debris, makes sure that there's no litter or heavy debris in the swales, landscape areas. So all that looked good on our end. So I think at this point we've hit all the comments and concerns that we've had up to this point. And I'm happy to answer any further questions that the board may have.
Thank you.
Yep.
Questions? Glenn?
Sure. In looking at your access and egress, is it necessary to have 2 points of entry or a point of entry? I don't know if you're going to have it one way. I just wonder if it's necessary, and if.
Yeah.
I know it's ideal, but it's more if it's just more pavement, and it's not like a high traffic area, so people are going to have to back out anyway to get out of the parking spot after they've finished charging their vehicle. So they back out and just wherever it's open to get back out onto Holland Way, or and I'm sure you've discussed it. I just wonder how that.
Yeah, so I can kind of explain how we kind of got to where we were. It's a tight area. I did briefly look at maybe having this dead end, but the problem of getting vehicles in and then having them be able to get back out, this would be a tight area to dead end. I also looked briefly at having them tee into one of the existing drive lanes, but what we didn't want was, there isn't a ton of traffic once you get off Holland Way, especially on the storage lot, but there is a fair amount of customer and employee traffic moving on this drive lane. we wanted to get them out of the main drive lane and then into their own area and their own space. That way, when they back out, this is just inventory.
Right.
There's no one
movement.
popping in one of those and taking off. So to get them in an area where they could pull in and pull out and not worry about backing out into an active drive lane. So that's what really drove the design here was it is adding an extra point of egress. You're absolutely right. So you have two next to each other. But we felt like the safety factor of getting them into their own area, but also being able to maintain proper dimensions, widths, and having stop control, they'll still be able to comfortably navigate around it and get back out into the main flow of traffic.
Okay.
Can I follow up on that?
Sure.
Do you mind? So just correct me if I'm wrong, but that roadway where they're going, the egress, and that's really for storage. If I remember correctly, when you came before and you
Yes.
got that additional roadway, it was only for storage. It wasn't for customers to be driving out there to look at your inventory. Correct?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
So anyone going into your charging stations and then coming out, the traffic there really wouldn't be any because there wouldn't be anybody driving other than you guys with your storage vehicles that you want to store there, right?
Yeah, traffic volumes
That didn't
on
come out
that
right.
would
I'm sorry,
be
it got all
low.
jumbled in my mind, but
Nope.
you know where I'm going.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
you're right. The traffic volumes on this roadway will be very, very low.
Right, it's solely McFarland
Solely for
Ford
McFarland Ford
putting their
storage.
vehicles out there and then maybe bringing them out to show. But
Yep,
my
yep.
recollection was no one was going out there.
Correct, correct,
thank you.
and that's
Sorry.
still the case.
Thanks. Okay.
The access road that would see some level of traffic from both employees and customers would be this driveway.
Yes.
A lot of people take
Okay.
this one if they want to get in. So that's the one we were mostly concerned about getting them off that roadway and having a place to back up comfortably. But you're absolutely right. This one will see very little cross traffic,
Yeah.
if any.
Thank you.
Yep.
A lot of people cut through to avoid the light
Oh, good.
at that intersection.
Yeah.
And they go through the lot.
Really?
Oh, and come up and through.
Crazy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, other businesses come down from there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't drive out there for
Shortcut.
any reason.
Have you considered what happens when all your bays are
Use your
full?
microphone, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I've had training recently. We've got to speak so everybody can hear us.
Yes, sir. Have you considered what happens when those bays are all full and I'm waiting? Where do I wait? Do I take a number?
Hannaford's.
Hannaford's?
Yeah, there's no deli ticker.
You can't wait. You can't wait till that becomes a
No,
problem.
taking no laundry.
But just the nature of how we've laid it out, there will be some natural queuing that could occur.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of use if we had all six used. But if it does occur, that's one of the nice features of having it be set off into its own corner is there. Just by the nature of how we laid it out, you would be able to have a couple cars sitting there and not causing a nuisance for flow traffic here. Same with this driveway. There's just not that vehicle traffic. I would think some people would, if they see that it's full, they'll just head out. But if someone's at 1%,
That would be.
you could potentially have a car or two sitting there.
So let me ask you, in the future, if electric cars become more popular, as a lot of us, I think, hope, you could actually maybe use some of that storage area for a queuing area if you found it was.
We could.
You have that option, right? So you do have
Yep.
an ability to fix that if it becomes a problem.
It would be a prime location to do another bay of charging stations. If things keep going on this track, which everyone thinks that's definitely where the country's heading from a vehicle standpoint, we could add another bay right here, do the same move as we're doing here, and then we'd be able to double our charging stations and virtually keep the layout the same.
Yeah, 'cause I did a little research after you guys came to the Conservation Commission, and it's literally, Ford is doing this across the country, correct? And then I think a few other dealerships have gotten on board with them and to try to make this a cross-country program. So it's pretty exciting.
Not knowing much about these, when a car is being charged, is there some indication as to how much longer it's going to be? So if the lot's full and I pull in, I can see, it's going to have to wait at least an hour or 3 hours? I don't know how it works. I have no idea.
If it's your own car, you can see.
Yeah.
On the app.
Okay. But,
So, yeah, we'll
but
have folks.
if I come in and it's full, how long am I have to go wait till there's a space that's going to be open?
Good question.
That's a great question. So on our level 2s, we've had folks leave them there for hours. We have people leave them there overnight, but when we had our older ones, you can get people to move their cars if you put a charge on, that says you'll be charged $50 if you leave your vehicle here, more than half an hour after it's fully charged, or an hour after it's fully charged, something like that. These have that technology to do that. That's the way you can get people to move, but if you go up to a vehicle and it's one of the, and you can look at the charging port on the side, some of them have kind of it's a circle with an LED light, and it, as the circle is complete, it's fully charged, and it kind of goes in a dial type.
Thank you.
I learned something new. Thank you for that question. I never thought about that.
This is going to be a problem for anyone, not just the Ford dealerships, but anyone who decides to get in this business, to work through these issues. Yeah, but it's going to be, because it's not like filling up your tank in 5 minutes.
No.
Right.
And I won't even wait in the line for 5 minutes to get gas, so I'm gonna have trouble. If all the bays are full, I keep driving.
It's like any new
'Cause
thing, they
I'll
will
pick the
find a
wrong
way
line.
to improve that function.
Yeah,
They will.
As it gets
They're
more
improving
popular.
with time, for
Just
sure.
for you, John, so you know.
Jen or Pete, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I have 2 questions about the design and one kind of general question for,
Please, yep.
I think, for our town, for you all. I'll ask the general question first. So the thought of people, so it's like, people are going to come and plug their car in, and then they're not going to want to sit around for an hour, so they're going to go to Hannaford. That street is not safe to cross. Like, I am scared to death of people trying to cross that street there, especially given the stuff you were just saying, people pulling in and trying to beat the light. And I mean, there's like little curb cuts, it looks like, at the 2 sidewalks. Like, what would it take to get the town to put a crosswalk there?
We're all looking at you. And DPW. They'd have to weigh in and look at it.
Yeah, I
and
have
see
to
if
weigh in.
it's
I mean,
safe.
you measure the distance, because really, I mean, if you're there and you're charging your car for an hour, I mean, what's walking up to the light and crossing at the light? where
But people aren't
there's a
going to do
crosswalk?
that.
Well, but you can't, like, as a town, you can't start putting mid-block crossings everywhere, in unsafe areas. You have to be like, okay, well, if you're going to cross there, then you're taking the risk. We've provided a crossing right up here.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people don't. Well, I don't know. I would do it.
It's okay.
I'd walk up, or if it's safe and you determine it's safe as a pedestrian, I mean, you go across. But mid-block crossings are tough we looked at those in some spots, and unless.
Well, you could kind of call this an intersection, because it's the driveway of Hannaford, which is basically a road, and it's the driveway to McFarland Ford right across, which is
So there is a sidewalk.
turning into a road.
A mid-block is not on a signal or stop controlled. Unless you had a four-way stop here, and Holland Way stopped, Holland Way doesn't stop, that's a mid-block crossing, regardless of how many roads it comes. That's what I meant.
Yeah, we'd have to ask the engineers at DPW or whatever, because of the line of sight and the different lanes and things, it might not be safe to put one there. But, somebody correct me, how close does the sidewalk connect in that area? All the way to?
Yeah.
Right.
There is
We
a
have a
sidewalk.
lovely road there with a sidewalk that people could actually walk
that's not a
the
problem.
length of, what's
Walk
that?
to the light.
So there is a
No,
sidewalk.
I meant just to go for a walk while they're
Oh, yeah,
charging.
yeah.
It's a nice walk down that street, and
Oh, yeah, you can walk
Yeah.
down Howland Way,
they
yeah.
have options.
Yeah, and if they go to Hannaford, well, it is a little bit out of the way, but the sidewalk does take you, and you could go across to
Yeah.
McDonald's, the
Okay.
gas station
Yeah,
there.
right there.
Yeah.
There's things,
You just go into the showroom and buy another car.
there you go.
Yes.
An
Then you never
EV.
even have to cross a road.
That's,
So would we like a little signage saying public sidewalk at the corner or something like that? Because, Howland Way is a highway, really,
It is. It's 3 lanes at
suggest to
that
people
location
not to run
for
across
going
this
one
road,
way
but-
and one lane going the other way. So it's a 4-lane road.
Yeah,
and I drive it a lot, trust me when I say the amount of people that actually observe the speed limit on that
Yeah.
road
Or
are
anywhere.
pretty smart. Sorry, but
so that's just a
So
thought.
what does
that I would have.
McFarland
Maybe-
Ford do? What do your
Starting out at
employees
cafe.
work? How do your employees, if they want to go over to Hannaford's,
They run across the.
they run?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Like scared deer?
dry enough.
Which is a good number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's,
Or
They don't go to
McDonald's.
the lights?
no, they don't go to the lights.
Oh, gosh.
It is a concern, Jen. I think that was a good question,
But they're right up
Yeah.
there by the lights, aren't they? Like, well.
How do you think about the landscaping, Jen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my other
Oh, good.
concern. I had 2 questions about the site plan. So one question, it seems like there's a lot of light spillage into the wetland.
yeah.
And I was wondering if we could put like a shield on that light or something, so that it doesn't quite go that far. I mean, we're looking at,
This light here?
yeah. It's sending like, half a foot candle, like 20 feet into the wetland.
We're open to doing that.
Yeah, that would be
That's an
good.
older style light.
Oh, that's an existing?
It's an all the lighting you see there is existing.
Okay.
Just that pole closer to the main access drive, it's like shifting 10 feet.
Oh, okay.
But the
Oh,
lighting.
but you're using the same luminaires that are on there.
Yeah, the same style light, the same intensity you'd see. So this is very indicative of what is out there now.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's shielded, so
Yeah.
to limit its,
If it's possible. I don't know, sometimes it's hard to retrofit.
Yeah, I think we'd be open to looking at it.
LED or the halogen on the pole?
The big one on the utility pole.
Oh, so those aren't dark sky compliant now?
It says they are in the plan.
It
but-
does say that. That's why I was asking. Because it says all lights should be
Yeah.
dark lit, shielded,
And on timers.
and on timers, yeah.
I know the one on the utility pole is different, that I don't know.
Yep. Yeah, that's
your lights?
The pole here in the front is a more traditional commercial dark sky compliant black shoebox commercial light downlit. This one is certainly an older style. It's different from the other lights on the property. It's an existing light, so we didn't propose messing with it in any way. But if it's something that McFarland Ford's open to,
Unitil owns that light.
they do.
Yeah.
So okay,
Unitil owns the light on the pole, I think.
okay.
You pay for it.
Absolutely. Yes, yeah.
So we could have a conversation with Unitil. I think that's perfectly fine and something we can do. We need to coordinate with them anyways because we got to bring 3-phase over the road. If McFarland Ford is open to funding the change, I think we could probably get Unitil to be amenable to upgrading the light. It's hard for me to commit that will happen because if it's controlled by Unitil, I have to coordinate with them and I can't make commitments on their behalf. But what I can commit to is that we could have a conversation with them when we coordinate to upgrade the electrical to see if that's something they're open to doing.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, and I think it would make sense from McFarland Ford's point of view too, to have that be like an LED, better light quality, better efficiency, and then you could get the dark sky and all that.
Yep.
It's an expensive light.
Okay, and then my last question was about the landscaping. So usually in parking lots, we ask for street trees every 12 cars or so. I know this is not a traditional parking lot layout, but it seems like you do have these 2 islands that have landscaping in them that you could definitely put a shade tree in, both of them. And I think, just looking at what's out there today, that parking lot's going to be, it is today, and I think it'll continue to be a bit of a heat island. So just, for the comfort of the people who are charging and for the betterment of the environment, I would highly recommend replacing your, shrubs with a street tree, which is, I think, more appropriate for a parking lot.
Does it sound good to have a shade tree here and a shade tree here? Maybe I'll switch out one of the bushes on each one, do a shade tree, and I'll pick a species that was one of the selected species when we did the larger parking lot. And then that way we'll have consistent visual. It'll be the similar species. It'll blend well with the landscaping we did out front and provide some of that shading.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Okay.
I think two street
we can
trees would be
certainly do
perfect.
that. So I'll put 2 shade trees.
Jen, are you all set?
Yeah, those are my questions. Thank you.
Pete, you look very thoughtful.
No, I had mine at the beginning.
Well, while we're waiting, Ben, I'm just going to open the public session for a minute here.
The question, one.
Well, just a minute.
Okay.
Well, I got to do that. Let the public speak, It's the law.
Here.
So, if anybody wishes to speak, please step to the microphone and introduce yourself and let us know what your thoughts are. In the meantime, John, the floor is yours.
When you going to close it?
I'm just
No,
curious
not yet.
about the existing conduit under the road. Is that have to replace with something bigger to get the service you need? Or is that, you gonna be able to utilize that?
So this is overhead power.
Oh, it's overhead?
It's overhead.
Yeah.
It's all, so we'll have to rerun new overhead.
Oh, it's overhead, okay, I'm sorry.
Once,
They're bringing 3-phase over, drop pole, and then conduit
Exactly.
from there.
Exactly, yep.
And they're not coming from their building.
Yeah. So we have a contractor we're coordinating with that's, he does these, and so he's got his plan all laid out. He's gonna have the appropriate conduit to feed the 3 towers that we're proposing. So that should coordinate with Unitil pretty smoothly.
Gwen?
Another question.
Sure.
Are you doing porous pavement on this?
We are not.
You're not.
We're not, but what we are doing is we did want to provide treatment. So what we did do was, there's an existing swale here, and what we did was we decided to go with another one. So we have another proposed treatment swale here along this drive lane. So the parking lot's graded so that all the water drains internally into the parking lot and then finds its way here. We have a riprap field here to catch heavy debris, and then that water flows into the treatment swale and then is treated. So all the pavement you're seeing will receive treatment prior to discharge into the wetland, which is really nice because currently there is no treatment for the gravel that's there. And then we also have the added benefit of we're dropping the square footage of impervious down about 1,500 square feet. So we're dropping the footprint and adding treatment.
So no granite curbing, Cape Cod berm, Cape Cod?
Slope granite curbing.
Slope granite.
Slope granite.
And on all through, or like all in around the periphery of it, or just?
Just on the island for the
Just
charging stations.
there.
There's no curbing here except for, there is curbing on this
upper
edge, but the curbing is used as a directional tool for stormwater. But the areas where there isn't curbing, the pavement's graded inward. So although there's no curbing, you won't have any stormwater flow slippage off the back. And then, because we don't want water coming right off the pavement into the wetland.
No.
So if you don't see curbing, it's still graded appropriately so that the water's going to find its way to the mouth of that treatment swell.
So in the wintertime, all your snow storage is going to go across the street. You're going to be able to monitor. That kind of makes me nervous. And I
Just adding a sign at the TRC, I thought that was a suggestion. At the back there, at the western side of the edge of pavement, putting
No snow storage.
No snow storage.
Yeah,
I thought
something.
that was a comment, but didn't get in there, did it?
It could have been.
Yeah, it was. What it was.
I just went off my notes, and if I missed it, I apologize.
Yeah, no.
I could certainly add, we could certainly add one.
Yeah.
So right
The
here.
western side.
Yeah, so that, we could do that.
Eastern, yeah.
And provide a no, because we don't want snow piling right next to a wetland. So that's certainly something that we can add, a no snow storage sign on the
Oh, okay.
easterly side. We'll put it right here.
Oh, easterly, I'm sorry, yeah.
Okay,
That's right, easterly.
So that, you hire an outside person, is it done within, you hire somebody to come in? So that's where I would worry that someone at 3 in the morning is gonna think, oh,
That's easier.
I can do this, I'll just put it over.
It's easier when they're an employee up front than if we contract it out to manage that process.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, signage, okay, that makes me feel better. Temporary charging. Porous pavement. Oh, with this project, is this pretty much built out now? With this parking area, is the property pretty well built out for future
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's conservation land
up?
directly behind us.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
20 acres of wetland.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah,
I would say so.
Yeah, I just asked that of Chris before we met, do we have anything coming down the
Yeah.
pipeline? And we ran out of room. All the land behind this is either in a deed restriction or a conservation easement. So all that land behind us is all spoken for.
Okay.
Yeah.
So further out Portsmouth Ave is your truck sales. So the sign says.
In Strata?
In Stratus.
It's Stratum.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We have our municipal and fleet chassis are sitting there,
Yeah, no,
kind of stacked.
waiting to be delivered.
Yeah.
While we have a moment here, if anybody else in the audience or anyone in the audience would like to come up and speak, please step to the microphone and introduce yourself. Otherwise, I'm going to close the public session. Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. I
Keep going.
Just keep another question.
I just put a commercial in once in a while.
Well, to cover the pause. The proposed electrical cabinet, that's in the position that it's in, the transformer, because of where the line comes across.
Yeah.
So that was dictated probably by the current.
Yep, it has to do with where
line.
the pole is, and we didn't want, the pole layout is sufficient for what we need, so we're gonna leave the pole layout as it is, just rewire it, and so that kind of drove the location of that cabinet, because that's in close proximity to where we're gonna drop down and then start to go underground. There's a 3D rendition on sheet D1, if you wanna get a little better visual depiction of how that's gonna look.
Oh, yeah. So is that cabinet going to be something like a telephone cabinet that you see occasionally, or?
Yeah, it'll look
Cabinet?
similar, like when you see like a 3x4 green metal cabinet,
Yeah.
it'll look similar.
Okay.
Very similar to that.
So there's no disturbance probably? It sits, is it on a cement foundation, or is it, like, is there a disturbance underground for that, or much disturbance around
It's a
it?
surface structure. It'll sit on a concrete pad, the same
concrete pad.
footprint of the cabinet itself. They'll trench from the pole to that, and then from there along here to the charging towers. So they'll trench that
of
conduit
course.
in, but that, from a subsurface standpoint, that'd be the extent of it. They'll set that conduit and then backfill.
Okay. All right. Do you want to kind of show us show us where, like, the disturbance for, like, your temporary impact to the prime buffer? Do you want to show us
okay.
where that is and the permanent disturbance?
Yeah, so, let me get back. Here. So, when we're talking prime wetland, we're talking this line to the rear here.
Yep.
There's certain criteria for what is denoted as and not a prime wetland. Gove Environmental was our environmental scientist on this. He did a function and values assessment and flagged the wetlands. We have a pocket of poorly drained wetlands here, which is not included in the prime wetland. That has to do with the width of the wetland. So there's different setbacks from a poorly drained and a prime. So what I did was I offset those two lines and then I kind of meshed them to make one consistent setback line. So you'll see a setback line here, and then which is the 100-foot wetland use buffer, and then there's the 125, that's that secondary line, prime wetland buffer.
Okay.
The temporary impacts are all of the non-impervious area. So that's area that we need to disturb. The two big ticket items would be we need to get that old gravel out of there, and we need to install our treatment swale. So those will be temporary impacts to the buffer because we're planning on revegetating those. And then once they're vegetated, leaving them undisturbed. Permanent impacts are impervious physical structure that's going to be installed and will be there long term. The biggest ticket item would be the pavement. So those are those two numbers. Oh, and then if I could just mention the waiver briefly there. So we do have one waiver. There's an ordinance in town that you cannot grade within 5 feet of a property line.
Yes.
The property line in question is this one here. McFarland Ford owns both sides of the line. They own both properties. And just the layout of what we're looking to do, we need to disturb right up against that line because the gravel that's already there goes that far. So to get that out and then set what we need, we got to go to where the gravel is, and it's currently in close proximity to the property line. And we need to grade across that line so that we could get the stormwater into that riprap litter basin here before it goes into the swale.
So you're 5 feet within your own property?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's a different property, so.
Yeah, different properties, yes.
That's why the triggers.
Understand that, yeah.
We talked about merging it, but there's some reason you guys don't want to. It's like that would make it go away.
Yeah, I think we probably could, yeah, at this point. That came off of King Chevrolet, that little.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so long.
Yeah, and generally, yeah.
Before they messed with that Road 88 connector and everything.
If you don't want to keep them as separate, which I don't see why, it doesn't have frontage or anything, from tax assessment standpoint, it's usually better to merge them.
Yeah.
And they're not two separate lots with the, so I usually get,
We could probably do all three then, really.
yeah,
Anyway.
but for another day.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's up to you. Give me a call if you want to.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I don't have any, thank you.
Well, we could look at this grading waiver motion. If anybody's ready for that.
Would you like me to take it?
Sure. Oh, good, you're still awake.
Oh, yes, sir.
Excuse me.
After reviewing the criteria for granting waivers, I move that the request of McFarland Realty Trust, Planning Board Case Number 23-16, for a waiver from Section 9.3.6.4 of the Site Plan Review and Subdivision Regulations toward grading within 5 feet of the property line be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Hand vote on this, please. Those in favor, please raise your right hand. Those opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. Thank you. And we probably need to go down to conditional use, which we haven't in any particular detail regarding the wetlands, so. David, you got the criteria we need to have the answers for on the conditional use?
Yeah, you mean, what do you
Just to go over the
want to go
criteria.
through them all? You want me to read them?
Yes, please. We haven't discussed them specifically, so
You have them?
I do.
just want to cross the Ts and dot the Is.
Yep, if it would,
You can do that.
please, Chair, I could just walk through each one.
Sure. Yes, please.
So, looking at 9.1.6.4, prior to the issuance of a conditional use permit, the planning board shall conclude that and make a part of the record compliance with the following criteria. Point 1, that the proposed use is permitted in the underlying zoning district. This is a C2 highway commercial. Primary use for the property is storage vehicle lot in connection with a car dealership, which is an allowed use. Item 2, no alternate design which does not impact a wetland or wetland buffer, or which has less detrimental impact on the wetland or wetland buffer is feasible. So the storage lot and electric vehicle charging station design has been reduced to the best extent practical to minimize impacts to wetlands and buffers. The current area is an existing gravel parking lot, and the proposed design reduces impervious area by proposing a smaller pavement footprint than the existing gravel area. Point 3, a wetland scientist has provided a impact evaluation that includes the functions and values of the wetlands and assessment of the potential project-related impacts, and concluded, to the extent feasible, the proposed impact is not detrimental to the value and functions of the wetland or the greater hydrologic system. Gove Environmental has submitted a wetland delineation and functions assessment report with this application. This was reviewed by the Town Conservation Commission, and then we did receive approval from the Conservation Commission after review of that report. Item 4, that the design, construction, and maintenance of the proposed use will, to the extent feasible, minimize the detrimental impact on the wetland or wetland buffer. Project proposes to use treatment swales, natural perimeter erosion control measures to ensure impact to the wetland and buffer is minimized to the best extent practical. Detailed maintenance procedures for all erosion and drainage features on site are included with the submitted plan set and on the operation and maintenance manual that exists for the property. These procedures help ensure the features on site continue to function properly for the foreseeable future. Item 5, that the proposed use will not create a hazard to individual or public health, safety, or welfare due to the loss of wetland and contamination of groundwater or other reasons. So the impact to the wetland buffer will occur in a largely already disturbed area. The design also proposes to provide stormwater treatment to a section of the gravel parking area that does not currently have any. Pavement area is also proposed to be curbed, which directs stormwater to the proposed treatment swale. Disturbance within all buffers has been kept to a minimum, and the proposed pavement will be located further away from the wetland than the existing gravel parking area. The applicant may propose an increase in wetland buffers elsewhere on site that surround a wetland of equal or greater size and of equal or greater function value than the impacted wetland. So on site, an existing restriction of 18.7 acres is located on lot 17, and a 5.02 acre conservation easement exists on lot 13. We feel this provides a sufficient amount of protection to the existing wetland system, given the size of the proposed project. And just quickly, for some context here, so this hatched area here is that existing conservation easement. Mm-hmm. And then this larger hatched area to the rear is the existing deed restricted area, which was a part of that proposed storage lot we did with the town a few years ago. Item 7, in cases where the proposed use is temporary or where construction activity disturbs areas adjacent to the immediate use, the applicant has included a restoration proposal revegetating any disturbed areas within the buffer with the goal of restoring the site as nearly as possible to its original grade and condition following construction. So all permanent impacts are to be pavement or associated side slopes of the pavement area. All disturbed areas will return to green space. The area of pavement will be smaller than the existing gravel lot and will be farther away from the wetlands. These gravel areas are not proposed to be paved and will be loamed and seeded. In addition to that, in working with the Conservation Commission, we also added a little more to that, and we proposed the wildlife, the wetland seed mix in coordination with Gove Environmental on the back slope of the parking field. And finally, item 8, that all required permits shall be obtained from the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, Water Supply Pollution Control Division, the New Hampshire Wetlands Board, and the United States Army Corps of Engineers. So all required permits will be obtained. The following submission of the conditional use permit for review of the Exeter Conservation Commission, the permit package will be submitted to this board, which we're discussing now, for review and approval. Luckily, we don't have any direct wetland impacts for the property for the project, so we don't need a wetlands permit from the state. So from a permitting standpoint, we just need to execute local permits and we should be all set.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody like to make a motion?
I will.
Okay. Nancy?
After reviewing the criteria for wetland conditional use permit, I move that the request of McFarland Realty Trust, Planning Board Case Number 23-16 for a conditional use permit be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Again, hand vote, please, for the right hand. Those in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Those opposed? Abstentions? Unanimous vote, that carries. So now the site plan motion. Have you some conditions that you'd like to discuss with us first, Dave?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I had one, but then after the conversation, well, I have a few more that result from the conversation between the applicant and the board. But number one, this approval considers this expansion as if it was part of the prior planning board approval for a parking area that was approved at the March 25th, 2021 planning board meeting, and all conditions of that approval as set forth in the planning board decision letter dated March 26, 2021 shall be extended to include this expansion. Basically just saying, it's as if it all got approved at once and all the conditions, like if they came in a few years ago, instead of making a whole new, thing. It's just an expansion. 2, the applicant shall have a discussion with Unitil regarding updating the existing overhead lighting to a dark sky compliant fixture and inform the town planner of the result prior to signing the final plans. 3, 2 deciduous trees, minimum,
3-inch?
3-inch caliber, shall be added to the final plans, one in the eastern landscaped island and one in the western landscaped island. And 4, no snow storage signage shall be shown on the final plans along the eastern edge of the pavement of the vehicle storage area.
Can you just add a note on the lighting one that in addition to it being dark sky compliant, that it has no light spillage into the wetland, something, I don't know, you know how to word things so well.
I'm sorry, David, I might have just missed it. The no snow sign? No snow storage?
Jason,
On the east end.
wetland
Yes.
area,
You got that.
Easterly side?
that reduces lighting of the adjacent wetland area. Is that good enough? I mean, or do you want to say 0-foot candles?
Yeah, I mean, if it's
My concern, if I may, is we're really close to the wetland, and I'd hate to find myself in a situation with my lighting consultant where he tries this as hard as he can, and there's like a 0.1 foot candle.
Okay, that's what I was asking. So
I don't think we want to say.
The way I wrote it,
Best effort.
the way I wrote it doesn't come in. It just says that reduces lighting to the adjacent wetland area.
Yeah.
So from 0.6 to 0.5, or, it doesn't have to. go
Or
to
minimizes, or
zero. Yeah,
best efforts to minimize.
Minimizes lighting at the adjacent one, yeah.
Yeah, we can certainly.
I feel like all the new lights are so, I feel like all the lighting reps tell me like, oh, we can control it down to like a foot. It's like they're always
Yeah.
bragging about how easy it is to like control where your light goes now, so.
I'm
maybe they
confident
could
we
do
could
something.
significantly
Yeah.
reduce it. I just didn't want to be in a
No, I
position where I got
understand.
stuck with one number and I can't get it. But
Yeah, I get
I'm
it.
confident we can drastically reduce it.
Dave, should we add one? They mentioned that the plans required the wetland stamp. Does that need to be a condition as well?
You got it already, right?
I already have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's been done.
One question, though, you gave him, we changed it to include 2 trees. Did we eliminate a couple of shrubs as well to make sure it fits?
Yeah, that
right?
was the understanding.
Okay.
And I didn't get into like, one shrub, if they want to keep the shrubs, they can keep the shrubs.
Yeah.
If they want to remove one and put a deciduous tree.
Clarification.
I think that was the point, was to get deciduous
trees,
trees
yeah. I
instead
don't
of
care about the
low-lying
shrubs.
shrubs. So I guess I was leaving it up to the landscape architect to determine
Yeah.
what will be healthy growing right around a deciduous tree now.
Right.
Okay.
The sign for the snow?
Yep.
No snow.
Storage
On the
sign,
easterly side.
Yep.
I cannot speak tonight. Yeah, thank you.
that was in there. That was number 4.
I'm sorry, I might have just
Yeah,
went
you did.
over for.
Okay.
We have applicant has no objections to any of those, so we're comfortable with all those conditions.
Can I just ask a quick question again about the lighting? You've talked about shut-offs, you've talked about dimming lights, and at one point you mentioned that, that you might have motion-activated lights. Is that a consideration, or, I'm kind of not sure, now that you've indicated that it's 24-hour accessibility, that kind of made me think, oh, lights are going to be on probably 24 hours, but are there lights that could be motion activated, or does it need to be lit if a car is charging and nobody's there, or, I mean, what?
Going to have some
You
light.
had some before, right?
Yeah, I just wonder how you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have, the lights in the expansion lot.
Yep.
as you move, those shut off
Yep, I think
at
I
some
remember
time.
that.
Those are on motion back there.
Oh,
in the
they
event-
are?
Yep,
Okay, I
in the
didn't
event
remember
someone
that.
were to go with a Sawzall and try and take a catalytic converter or something.
Yeah.
The police would notice the light was on, which would be abnormal.
Yep,
And hopefully take notice and
yep.
and kind of do a sweep. We could
Could you do that
we
with
could put
these?
those 2 LEDs on until XYZ time, and then put them on motion from whatever time.
Till the next.
We could mirror it. It's all in the computer.
Mirror what
Yeah,
happens
they can
in
mirror
the
the motion
stream.
sensor on the back half.
I think that would be
That'd be nice.
great. That
Yeah.
way, that'll protect the wetlands
The
even more.
The Unitil light will need to be swapped out with a different light, which is not a big deal.
Okay.
So,
Are you comfortable doing that?
Yes.
Would that work?
yeah, I'm fine with that.
I think that'd be
Yeah.
great.
Yep, I'm fine. So they'll move to motion
Yeah,
after.
after like 10 or whatever
Yeah.
time. I
Yeah.
don't
That's-
remember what your
Yeah.
other ones are at, but
Ford's been wishy-washy about the 24/7, so
You can be-
we don't I don't see us,
Well,
it's
you-
just if we don't, it's hard to tell someone, if someone comes in at 9 o'clock, and then maybe they only have an hour, I'm not sure yet. It's so new still that
yeah.
I'm sure there's other scenarios I haven't thought of,
Okay.
that'll spring up, but,
It's a work in progress.
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
No, no.
Do we have them all? The conditions were all set?
Yeah, the ones I did.
Are you still
Struggling.
working on that one?
I'm struggling with that.
So
Because it's like, how would you,
it's the same as the other one, as we did with the other part, with their parking.
yeah,
on-
we didn't do that, though. Our regs
I thought we
is
did.
reduce in intensity, not motion sensor.
Oh, the motion,
No, we don't require that. We require them to reduce in intensity
Yes, I remember that.
between 10, after 10 PM.
They volunteered that. I think that's.
For their own
But
goods.
I'm like, when,
But it was part of the other approval, and, right? I mean, it
no,
was part.
no, not that I remember. No, it wasn't. It was.
I remember the
They followed the
conversation.
regs of reducing we remember a timing, got to put them on a timer.
Yeah.
Reduce, 10 PM, reduce in intensity. I think that was what I remember.
Yeah.
Now that they put them on the motion sensor, I don't think that was a discussion at the.
I don't remember
It certainly
It may have
didn't.
not been a requirement, but it was a
Yeah, I read
discussion.
It was a discussion, I remember it.
Yeah, I mean, I read the
Back to
conditions of
Yeah.
approval. I have them up here, and it doesn't say anything to that effect.
Okay.
Yeah, I just remember.
These are the
it.
conditions from the last time, so.
Yeah.
I mean, we could take it on good faith if we were to craft a condition. I could try to. I'm just struggling trying to with the wording of that.
Chris, you're comfortable with switching to motion at 10?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. That's not a problem. That's,
Yeah.
yes. There is, one of those lights is angled.
Where am I looking here? One of the lights, where's the existing pole?
That's the existing pole.
How about
So there's
lighting?
another pole here.
There's another.
How about lighting shall be on a motion sensor after hours as discussed at the planning board?
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be. That's kind of something we must have wanted to do with the catalytic converter thing, right?
It is, yes.
It's a security thing.
We did that as a.
Yeah.
security.
And you wouldn't want
Yeah.
to say no to that if that's the
So it's
protecting
pitch
the
black
property.
back there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they could have left them on all night.
But they
In our regs, they could leave them on, they just
At
have to
the
reduce
lower,
in
yeah.
intensity from
Yep.
10 to 7 or whatever.
We just thought it would cause more, someone would notice it
Yeah.
in the event they were on at 2 in the morning. Something would have
I
caused it.
get
It
you.
saves money.
Yeah,
not
that
having it on
triggers
all the
more,
time.
saves
Yeah.
money, there's a bunch of benefits to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the light that's angled for the drive back there, that just lowers in intensity.
Okay.
The one that's
So it's
facing,
not
because
pitch
it lights,
black there,
it kind
then?
of lights up this entrance.
Yeah.
But for its partner facing that way, that can go to motion.
Okay.
That would,
That's fine. Then there
So
is.
one of them?
Or two.
well, there'd be 2 of them, because
Oh,
There are
the
two
lighting
lights
for
on
the
that
parking
one.
lot, that's
Yeah.
what.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
the other one exists.
The other one exists.
Oh,
right.
okay, yeah, we're not talking about that.
It's,
Okay.
well, it's got two heads on it. One goes to the lot,
Gotcha.
one goes to the drive, so you can
Okay.
see as you come in.
So we're good now,
Yeah, I think so.
Mr. Chair? You
Certainly.
ready for motion? I move that the request of McFarland Realty Trust, Planning Board Case Number 23-16, for a site plan approval be approved with the conditions as stated by the town planner, Dave Sharpless.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Glenn,
Anytime.
any discussion? Then I would call for the vote. Those in favor, please use your hand. In favor, put it up, your right hand. Thank you. And the oppositions or any abstentions? And joint vote, you got it?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Third.
Oh, great. So, okay. Oh,
Where did this come from?
Not my writing.
No, it's me. I try to put the package back together the way I get them, so.
Okay.
We talked about the Conservation Commission, but I can't remember in September, so I have to,
Other business.
That's me.
yeah.
Anything for master plan discussion, Dave?
We did have a master plan oversight committee meeting this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pete had no heat, so he had to bow out at the last minute, but you got the heat back on?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. We envisioned you rubbing 2 sticks together.
No, I was under a covers. So it really wasn't, the temperature maybe in the house got down in the low 60s.
Okay.
That's okay.
But
That's chilly.
that's still a little chilly.
Yes, a little chilly, yeah.
So we finalized like the last set of recommendations, the enforcement, the encouragement, the educational recommendations in the draft plan. kind of prioritize those and so forth. We were happy to have our public here. There was a member of the public, a nice gentleman, resident up on JD Hill, has kids that bike and walk to school, so we brought him right up to the table, and, he was, he participated in the discussion. It was really good meeting this morning, so.
Yeah.
And we'll continue with that, and once it's ready for prime time, we'll be forwarding it on to the planning board.
Great.
That's all I have for that.
Yeah, that was my request to you, for a copy of whatever that was.
He didn't get
He
a copy.
emailed it last night, right? He should have.
Yeah, but
He
it was
emailed it to all of us.
it was
I didn't get
47
that.
pages.
I didn't get an email.
Oh, you didn't?
I got the hard copy this morning.
Yeah, I was looking for a
Oh, he
hard.
said, I didn't see who he sent it to, but he sent it to me, and he said, for
No,
the
I
meeting
got it.
tomorrow. And Aaron mentioned it this morning.
I don't think
I got it, but
maybe I just missed it.
if we have
You want me to
extra hard
physically
copies-
print it out? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It's 47 pages and half of them are in color.
Oh, I got you. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, yeah, we'll have it here next,
We'll take it.
when you want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when's the next scheduled meeting of that?
Well, it's usually on the first Thursday of the month,
So
which
it
would
was
be
still set
December or
that.
whatever. I
We
don't
didn't
have-
change that for December then?
I don't think so.
Didn't we?
Okay, because we did change some things for next year.
Well, unless you talked after I left. the
No, no,
meeting
I wasn't
adjourned,
here.
And you made some other schedule, so.
I was thinking we scheduled another meeting for, Scott asked us about it. When are we gonna,
That must have been when I left, so let me know.
Well,
The
that
meeting was adjourned and I left, but
Well, if it
some
was
people
adjourned,
stuck
we can't
around
do
and kept
anything.
talking, so it might have happened then.
That's right, if it was adjourned, you can't
we
do
can't do
anything.
anything anyway, so.
Okay, land use regulation review, we were still working on that.
Yep,
Field modifications,
none requested.
bonds, letters of credit,
Yeah, I'd
handing out
like
money.
to just thank Barb McAvoy. She's been very diligent about going through that list and getting she went through a list and sent it to UEI of all the outstanding UEI extras that we have that have projects that are closed out, but people don't ask for it back. There's roughly, I forget what she said, it was either $55,000 or $57,000 worth that we're preparing to return in the near future that we have on the books. That, like $387 left over for inspections or
Yep.
$1,000 left over for plan review. The people don't come back, so now we're kind of clearing that out. So I want to thank Barb for being diligent about that and doing that hard work.
That's a big project.
Yeah, but we're trying to clear the books. I mean, it's not money it's not our money. We just have to keep it until we give it back.
Yeah,
So
it's great.
let's get it
Yeah.
back.
Anything for the good of the order?
One thing, I just have an announcement just to follow up. I am talking with the Mitchell Group attorney tomorrow about following up on that wetlands
Great.
decision.
Court case, yeah.
That wetlands ruling that was
Yeah.
asked about, so I should have something for you next time.
Thank you very much
You're welcome.
for doing that.
Okay,
Cool.
would you like to make a motion, Pete?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I so move.
Oh,
Oh, wait a minute, sorry.
before we do, just the next planning board
Yes,
meeting on the 16th, is at the library.
that's 2 weeks from today.
Is it the library?
Yeah, it says CIP,
The library.
but BRC is here that night to do the CIP.
Oh, because we're off schedule.
Yeah, we did.
That makes-
Well, the BRC just,
It happens
they need the room, they,
Yeah.
they
so-
schedule it. It's almost like you can't schedule a meeting in Exeter without a conflict, but they need this room due
Yeah.
to their size and so
Yeah.
forth, so.
The
So Mr.
16th?
Sharples is like doing double duty. He's gonna be there and then get to the planning board meeting.
Well, he better.
And Gwen, I don't wanna speak for Gwen, but
Yeah,
she
I
has a
don't know.
problem that night too, because there's also a Heritage
HDC.
HDC meeting that night.
Well, we'll see what we
Yeah.
got going on and see if we can shift it around and maybe,
We moved the 2 cases from our last week to the 16th.
Is
well, that's an
Mario-
event. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mario Ponte
We
and
already, I was thinking December, but.
Yeah, we've already booked him.
No, we have 2. And I will be a while. I mean, the budget starts at 6:30, but I'm kind of doing a deep dive into the existing 20 Court Street and kind of how we got here with the new police station, fire substation. Been asked to do that. There's been some questions about it, so it's good to, and I'm going into a little more detail than I normally would, so I'll be there as soon as I can get there.
All right, that's good.
So.
Now,
New
do you
place,
want
new
a
venue, same old committee, board, we'll do it. All
I'll
right,
second.
so, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, those in favor, please again saying aye.
Aye.
That's good, enough for me, we're
did it.
we're adjourned. All
Thank
right.
you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv. Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Bi-Weekly Report with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.